The link between the global warming and mental health disorder, as well as the link between the funded wars and mental health disorder. Those are the two main areas I want to talk about today, and the outcomes from these two main areas, the root causes here. So there's, again, poverty, then famine, population, poor health, mental health and stigma. Then you have the killings, unnecessary killings going on. Even as we are speaking now, there are kids there dying due to the effect of these wars. And today we also try to find out who are behind those wars. You will be able to figure out yourself right toward the end. Sexual assault and rape going on there, and the rape taking place, especially when it comes to the age of the children being raped by the military troops of the UN, which means those troops are coming from the US, they come from Canada, they come from Pakistan, they come from India, they come from some African countries that the UN uses. They will go there. They are young people who are used to being with girls, the boys I'm talking about, and if they don't have girlfriends, you send them there for 3 years without girlfriends. Guess what they will do when they have a big gun around them in some jungle area? You figure it out. Increased illiteracy due to deplorable infrastructure and unemployment. We talk about some statistics and facts. Sub-Saharan population explosion, life expectancy, the use of children as military troops. And these are facts here now. We talk about the wealth of the continent. There are natural resources incredible in that part of the world. You can just see here. And then the causes of political conflicts. Those conflicts have been there. They don't stop. The adults have been talking about these things. The US and Switzerland and all those so-called big developed countries, the leaders that sit and say, okay, we want to solve these problems. But there seems not to be an answer. All we see is feed the children, feed the hungry, all those things we see in Africa. But the key word is this: destabilize Africa to make way to grab for free. Then group activity. All right. This is where I really want to spend time for today. It'll be in this area, those two links. Then we will be talking about the outcomes. That's basically, they work together. The first parts, the links and the outcomes of those two links. So if to go back here, I'm going to need a volunteer to read something, because I talk about the link between global warming and mental health, and the link between funded wars and mental health embrace or mental health disorder. I'm talking about embrace for this reason here. That's why when I looked at her or him, because this young boy here, when the rebels were slashing people's ears and necks, mom wanted to protect the child. So she had her arm over the head when she saw a machete coming, and her arm was chopped just to protect, but still a part of the head was hit. Most people don't really see the link between global warming and mental health. As you can see, I wanted something that has been published, something that is research-based or evidence-based about the impact of the global warming and mental health. Just speaking about it, most people have a tendency to doubt. How can you make the link really there? But you've heard how it affects people, and that is rampant in Africa because it is where exploitation of the natural resources is taking place every day. Weekends, day, night, exploitation is taking place in Africa, unbelievable. And somehow those resources never, and they're always there. It's just like they replenish themselves. They replenish themselves. They replenish themselves. And how can this place be a poor place? Interesting. The link between funded wars and mental health. Now that one we can actually relate to it. As you look around, I've done this work just for you so that you can see with your own eyes what I've gone through and what others are going through. You see around, and some of them, they have some writings around. You can see what it says. This one said that the aftermath of the supported or funded Africa's wars. You see, this is how this child looks like. Underneath, there's a lady here who she had a son. The French troops, this is 2015. They came to Ivory Coast because also France wants to show her the muscles in Africa, that Africa belongs to us. We have colonized, which I call abused, so we have abused. Therefore, Africa is our piece of whatever they want to call it. This lady was with her son. The son, all of a sudden, the troops came, supposedly looking for militants. They started shooting, was at the beach. Her son was shot dead in front of her. So then they were asking them to leave. So she's walking away and looking behind, hardly walking away. But the dead son who was there, who was not sick, they were having fun at the beach, now is dead. And how often this is taking place in Africa? How often Africa does not produce any weapons? We don't make the weapons, those big automatic rifles and so forth. We don't. Someone must be sending it there, I think. So if they stop, then the killings will stop. Easy. We don't have to get people with PhDs in this, in that, PhD in some this, or master's degree in this. No, stop shipping weapons. It will stop in Africa. I think I'm right. When I look at this picture here, of course there are words in here, good and tough words. When I look at this, I'm looking here, I can see maybe loneliness. I can see misery. So if those words are here, you can pick them. Each group may come up with either 2 or more words. It's up to you. You have papers there. You can write them on the piece of paper I gave you, the colorful papers. It could be, let's say, complex. It could be something like depression, for example. For this activity purpose, make yourself in the shoes of these people here, like you are a victim also of these sufferings. Because I'm suffering from mental health, when I look at something like this, you lift it up, and then something like this, what comes to mind? I can see toughness, I can see roughness, or I can see bond. So just come up with something. The words, as a suffering person, as a victim. As simple as that. Just write those words on the paper. You can do it as a group or individually. Just come up with either 2 words as a group or more words. And they don't necessarily have to be these words. You can come up with your own words as well. In the end, each group will come up here and write down your words and explain the reasons behind that. For example, I can say, here I see loneliness and I can see abandonment. But why I chose abandonment? Because she looks like she's alone now. She looks like there's no one else to care for her. So that's the reason behind that. Clear so far? Yeah. So please, let's go. Write the words. Yes. That way we can save the time. Yeah.
Are we all just writing it
and then you will explain? Yes.
Group will come up and explain their own?
Yes,
okay.
You can. Yeah, please.
Okay.
And I chose isolation as my word.
Okay.
Because I just can't imagine like the feeling of isolation that she would be experiencing, like seeing all of these dead people around her, and just like the vastness of it, and how lonely she'd be feeling.
Yes.
I chose scared because like that whole experience would just be completely terrifying. I wouldn't know what to do.
Yes.
It would be so scary.
Yes, yes. Despair.
So the word which I chose is despair because I could see that level of despair in that girl when
Yes.
she was in the valley of death, right?
Yes.
Because her parents were dead like
Yes.
that. So it's like,
I chose trauma because I can just imagine like how she must be feeling after experiencing something like that, seeing all of her family and friends, lying there dead. That must have been so traumatic for her, and she can take away that for the rest of her life, that trauma.
Yes. Wonderful. Yeah.
I chose the word ignorance because not that she herself is going to be ignorant, but like she's never, like throughout her life, she's never going to really find someone who can really like deeply understand exactly what she's going through. Only she herself is going to understand that because sympathy and empathy are two different things. You can only sympathize, you can't really empathize, I think. So, people just choose to be lazy when it comes to these things and not educate themselves about it and figure out the real problem. Like you treat the cause, not the symptoms, because that doesn't really do it.
Excellent.
I chose failure because the mother is going to always feel like she failed herself and her child because she wasn't able to find the treatment. And it's not because she herself, but she's going to feel like she failed, even though there was nothing she could do.
Yes.
And she's always going to look back on that time and feel like, and think there was something she could have done. But because of the situation that they were in, there was nothing she really could have done.
Yes. Next.
And my biggest word was torture.
Torture. Yes.
Sort of survivor's guilt.
Yes.
Obviously, this is probably one person is alive, but maybe 50 or 60, and no doubt we.
Yes. That's right. Thank you. Thank you as a group. Thank you so much. And the final group, please. Yes. Excellent. Humanization, insignificance, challenge, complex, depression. Wow. Let's go for it, please. Good. Yes.
And that's for a similar reason that I chose insignificance, just because the mother's life and her family and her son weren't of any importance to the soldiers, and they were just trying to seek dominance and power and not caring at all about their lives.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Excellent. Great. Thank you. And my final words is, I wanted us to go through this. Oftentimes, we watch on television some African kids going through the confusion that we have identified here. They've gone through or going through the trouble, going through suffering, but we don't quite really understand the reason behind it. All we are told is they are poor, they need our help, they cannot help themselves, they're always fighting each other, they're always killing each other. But the purpose of your participation into this activity is for you to feel the pain that they go through, to feel the pain that I once went through until I left the soil of Africa and I came here. That pain that you have felt today, the pain that you have described here, again. What is this? What is this? What is this? Risk it. Sometimes it takes taking a risk. That's why we are called to come this weekend so we can identify these areas, we can better connect, to cut down this poverty that is unnecessary, we should not be facing today. That's why EWB, U of T, chapter, wants us today to be here to talk about these issues, to take the risk, because you are the future, or if not the present, leaders of the world. Remember, I'm not saying of Canada, of the world. What you do here can impact many outside Canada. But we must be wise, we must be prudent, We must be great policymakers in the future. Again, I thank you for coming today, for making this a success. Once again.